That's what happens every time, you guys. So when you have to cross and there's horses and another biker coming the other way, or a hiker or runner or whatever, it's always at that point where there's a crossroad where people are crossing, multiple people. Anyway, speaking of crossroads, so I wanted to talk to you about, just with my channel and with these journal type, talks I have on my channel, what I'm trying to do to influence others to adopt a healthy lifestyle and take accountability for keeping themselves healthy and not relying on peripheral influences. I've been blessed that I live here in Southern California when I'm not living in the Philippines, and it's hot weather, warm weather almost all the time. This year we've had a lot of rain, but for the most part, in the next couple months or weeks, we're probably going to go through long periods of really hot weather or mildly hot weather. It won't dip down below the high 50s or low 60s. It'll just stay high, and I like it like that. I've often told my kids that I could retire in the desert because I like the hot weather. And the reason is clear skies and warm weather means outside activity. I've never been a person that's really been an indoor cardio person. Now I had to, and I did this for a long period of time, where I taught a spin class or an indoor cycling class, and that was for a period of 18 years working at gyms in Pasadena and Arcadia, specifically the 24-hour fitness gyms. I opened up and I was one of the first instructors at the one in Pasadena. It was the newer one. It was closer to Paseo. And then when the one opened up in Arcadia, I wasn't one of the original people, but I started working there probably a couple years after it opened up. And I liked it. I taught people how to work out in their zone. I talked to them about heart rate monitor training. Before there were all these smart watches, the only way you could do heart rate monitor training was by a Polar, and this is even before Garmin. All there was Polar, and there was another watch called Mayo, but these were the early heart rate monitor watches. Of course, Polar was the standardized one, and I believe they just sold their SDK to other people that made watches. And then Suunto came out, and Garmin came out, and now we have Coros, and of course Apple Watch, and many other heart rate. Samsung has a watch. So as you can see, I got both the Garmin. This is the Garmin 965 Forerunner, and that's the Polar V2. But my first Polar was one that you had to actually infrared to the computer. It was the F710. I think I still got that laying around in storage somewhere. And I believe I posted one of my old videos and showed you some of my older Polar watches. And if you want to look back for that, or I'll try to find a link and put it in the description. Anyway, so I realized way back then that, and I think part of it was I really gravitated towards exercise physiology, and I really thought to myself, what's missing as a nurse and someone who understands healthcare is people's desire or people's understanding of exercise physiology and how to treat themselves like an athlete and exercise on a regular basis and work on cardio gains and strength gains, agility training, all of that, how that was important. Functional training was before CrossFit and functional training stuff even existed, that just, you know, basic stuff existed. People rode bikes, people ran, people swam. Most of the people that did triathlons back then used the Polar. And there was an author called Dr. Edmund Burke that wrote some books about heart rate monitor training back before it was a thing. And I read those books and I really liked how he took a deep dive into the Krebs cycle and ATP and all this other stuff that, you know, there's no need to go that deep, but I did, and I liked it. And the thing is, it wasn't that I had to be a scientist and understand that stuff to a scientist level, but it was the fact that I saw the importance of it. And I realized that even professional athletes struggle with health later on in life when they've won the gold medals, won the Super Bowl, won all these championships, and then they just kind of let their health go by the wayside. And I said, it's incredible how they reach that pinnacle of health and athleticism and then let it all go. But it's even worse for the people that never thought of themselves as an athlete, and the last time they exercised regular was in high school PE class. And even if you look at PE classes today, there's going to be that group of kids that just walk around the track on their phones, and there's maybe a couple that are going to have the Apple Watches and try to make a PR with a 400 meter, but that's the jock, right? That's the guy in high school that people are thinking, well, I'm not that guy and I don't have the genetics, so I'm just going to focus on studying and getting my high school diploma, getting accepted to college. When I get into college and finish college, I'm just going to work and do the normal thing, right? Everybody has their idea of the milestones they need to do in life, and I had those milestone ideas too. But it always included exercise, to the point where even some of my early education and even some of the early jobs that I took, I would be taking time off to go to the gym at lunch, to leave early or come in late and tell my boss I was training, things like that. And I think it was understood by the people I worked with, and then when they didn't understand it, I didn't last. I lost those jobs, and so be it. But what's more important, having a career and tons of money, or having your health And I believe health is wealth. And there's lots of people that have lots of wealth that cannot buy that health. Nobody could do it for them. You can only do this for yourself. So think of yourself as that athlete, and if you never embraced exercise when you were in high school or college, embrace it now. And think of it like this: if you're not striving to be healthier, you're allowing yourself to get sick or to be unhealthy. And that's really where I want to leave it at. So thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys later.